In this video, I'm going to do a 1625 piano voicings tutorial, and this is a follow-up to a previous video that I posted, which kind of struck a chord with our subscribers. Robert says that he has trouble with chords. He says, chords are my nightmare. If you could make a tutorial in which you could explain the issues of the left hand. So we're not only going to just talk about left hand today, we're going to talk about right hand along with that. And then Francesco said that he wants to follow up with a few more lessons on the same topic. So that's what this video is all about. I've created an exercise which is essentially three keys, F, B flat, and E flat, which are very popular keys in jazz. And then I've written out some 1625 piano voicings that I think you're going to find infinitely useful. Now the great thing about this is you can practice them along with the backing track that I made. And I'll give you a link to that backing track and to this exercise in a little while. Let me play it for you. Essentially what it does is it goes 8 bars in halftime feel, so it's just playing half notes. And then when it gets to the regular feel, which is walking bass line or straight ahead feel, it's like it's playing on the and of 4 and the and of 2. And then it changes keys, like I said, into B flat and then into E flat. So let me play the whole thing for you. It's going to take a couple of minutes to do that. And then when we get back, I'm going to tell you why you're going to need these voicings and what the patterns are in order to duplicate this, not only with these keys, but also in other songs and other keys as well. All right, let me play it for you now. All right, so there's the exercise that you're going to practice. At some point, you might want to start soloing over that, but for now, we're just going to talk about piano voicings right and left hand together. So what you see here is F major 7, D minor 9, G minor 9, and C13. Now the reason why I did that is because minor 9 is just an extension, or the ninth is just an extension of D minor 7. And then the ninth is an extension of G minor 7, and then the 13th and the 9th, so this could really be 9 and 13, is an extension of the C7 chord. So that's great because anytime you see a 1625, you can add those extensions, absolutely no problem. The other important thing is that each of these chords must contain the 3rd and the 7th. So in the F major 7, there is the 3rd here and the 7th, which is the E natural. Okay, so those two notes. When we get to D minor, it's got to contain the 7th again and the 3rd. And then G minor, it's supposed to contain, like I say, the 3rd and the 7th. And then C dominant is the tritone, which is the 3rd and the 7th. So again, this is the third, this is the seventh, this is the seventh, this is the third. This is the third, and this is the seventh, and this is the seventh, and this is the third. Now the reason why it goes back and forth is because you don't want to jump all over the place. With voicings, you want to find the most closest inversion of the voicing you can. So for example, if we went from 3 and 7 for F major, up to 3 and 7 for D minor, we're jumping all over the place. So you want to just keep it close. So like this. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And then on top of that, you want to start adding the root and the fifth, and then any extensions on top of that. So for the F major 7th chord, all we're doing is taking the root position, and we're playing the third inversion. Third inversion is here. And then we're following that up with the same D minor 9 chord. Why is it the same? Because it contains a lot of the same notes. In the left hand, we're playing 1 here, the root, and the 7th. Now there's a lot of discussion amongst jazzers to play what's called rootless voicings. Now, you can do that, but when you're playing two hands, it's often not possible, or it's often like not necessary to avoid the root, if that makes sense. You can play it without the root like this, but even if you're playing with a bass player, it's going by very quickly, so to play the root is not a bad thing. But you'll notice the right hand, when I play it, it's not jumping all over the place. It's staying pretty much put. In fact, the top note, the A, remains the same for every single one of those chords. And then in the next 4 bars, all I'm doing is I'm just giving you different inversions. So this is 3, 5, 7, and 9 of F major 7, and just an octave in the bass. And then we're just playing a different voicing for the D minor 9 chord. So the right hand is going from the top note here, just those 3 notes. So the first 2 bars is the top note remains the same. And then in the next 2 bars, it just goes down a couple of notes. But it's still not jumping all over the place. Like if you were to play these chords in root position each time, it would be like this. Again, it's just jumping. Not good. You want to find the inversions that make the most sense, and that's what this exercise is for. In this last one, I just threw in a flat 9, which is often very possible to do with 1-6-2-5s, because while you're leaning back to 1 major 7, it's okay to put that flat 9 in there because it kind of resolves to the 5th of the chord. So it's falling to become the 5th of the next chord. Then in the exercise, all we're doing is playing those same voicings. We're just playing them on the and of 4 and the and of 2. The and of 4 anticipates the chord of the next bar. For example, when it starts here, this is your F major 7th chord, and this is the D minor 9 chord, and this is the G minor 9 chord. So really, it's just anticipating the chord that's coming up. Of course, I'm tapping in my head the rhythm, but essentially if we're to play that rhythm like this, it's just anticipating the beat coming up. So again, 8th note before the 1, 8th note before the 3, okay? And of 4, and of 2. Then if we take a look at the exercise in the next key, all I've done is transposed it up for that key. It's the same progression, same inversions. And then when it gets to E flat, it's doing the same thing, but going back down. So we went up for the B flat, and then we're going back down for E flat. Now, some people might think that's a little bit low. I don't think it's too low yet. As soon as we get down to D flat, it might start to get too low. But even then, it still sounds okay. Of course, these aren't the only voicings for 1-6-2-5 progressions, but it is a pattern that you can absolutely follow. The goal is, of course, not to jump around all the chords from root position to root position. You want to go from, say, root position to third inversion, or third inversion to root position, and that's what keeps the hand from jumping all over the place. And again, that's what I think is the best course of action when it comes to playing two-handed chords when you're doing 1-6-2-5. Now, of course, you can use these same chords in non-1-6-2-5 progressions. For example, if a G minor 9 chord showed up anywhere, you could just play it. Doesn't necessarily need to go to C13 in order for it to work. You can still use that chord voicing. Okay, if you have any questions about this exercise, you can write them in the comments below, and just like Robert and Francesco did, you can request other things as well. I think what I might do here is do another 1-6-2-5 tutorial in sharp keys, just like we did with the other backing track in the other tutorials. So I may do that next. I haven't quite decided on it, but maybe you could help me out and let me know what you want to do, and I'll be happy to make that video as well. Thanks so much for your time. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And if you're going to subscribe, hit the little bell because you'll get notified of all of the upcoming videos that we're making. Thanks so much for your time. I hope to see you in another video.